Esselamu Aleyküm ve Rahmetullah. Euzubillahimineşşeytanirracim. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Rabbena atina fid dünya haseneten ve fil ahireti hasene ve qina azabennar. Rabbena gfirli ve li valideyye ve lil mu'minine yevme yekumul hisab. Rahmetike ya erhamer rahimin. Allahümme allimna ma yenfa'una ve enfa'na bima allamtena ve zidna ilma ve erinel hakka hakkan verzukna ittiba'ah ve erinel batile batilen verzukna ictinabe. La havle ve la kuvvete illa billahil aliyyil azim. Ve sallallahu ala Muhammedin ve ala alihi ve ashabihi ve etbahi ve sellem. Velhamdülillahi Rabbil alemin. Amin. We have been studying the story of Yusuf in the Quran, and we studied up to verse 50 of the section Yusuf. Now, the people, inmates of Yusuf in prison, one of them was saved and became the wine drink server of the king, as Yusuf interpreted his dream. But he forgot about it. We studied all this. But what happened once the king, it's narrated that saw a dream, and the man said, I can find a person, or I can come to you with interpretation of your dream. Just let me know, let me go and get the interpretation. And he came to Yusuf and asked him, this is the dream, just interpret it, dream of the king. So Yusuf did interpret the dream. That is what we learn. But before interpreting it for a very short period of time, he promised that he is not going to take long at all, and they are not going to lose anything until the food. That was important. That's why I'm repeating. Until your dinner comes, not later than that. As soon as you have you receive your dinner, I will stop. So he gave a very short, very concise message to them, inviting them to believe in one absolute God. And gave the example why he didn't say that I believe in this, so you have to believe in that as well. No, he gave them a very extremely simple example so that they can understand. A person who gave the example, just an imaginary example. Can you imagine a person has a master, more than a master, a slave has more than a master, and then on the flip side of it, another person has only one master. Which one works better? Of course, it was obvious. It was the human being and one absolute creator, or everything in the universe has the power to create. So we have to obey all of them at the same time, but everything acts in a different way, etc. So we cannot really explain the existence of the universe, and we don't know what to do in this world if we accept that the universe has not absolute creator, but somehow everything is acting on its own as they want. That doesn't make sense, but in this case, we can not have a perfect order of the universe. Everything would be in chaos. That was obvious in example. So as some video is opened. That just he conveyed his message, essential message. That was so simple example that the people can understand only from the simple analogies, not complicated ones. Anyways, he went and then came back and get the interpretation. Now he's going back. Then, the king is speaking now. The king said, bring him to me. But when the messenger came to fetch Joseph, he said, because the interpretation really made sense for the king, and he just wondered, it must be an honest king, at least in his administration, not maybe in not belief, but administration as a king. And this person must be an intelligent one and talented one. He wanted to get to know. Of course, he came, he asked the person and go and get this man to me. So the man came, but when the messenger came to fetch Joseph, he said, then Joseph is speaking now, go back to your master and ask him about what happened to those women who cut their hands. My Lord knows all about their treachery. Now, why is it important? Come on, this is the opportunity. The king is asking you to come to his palace. No, it is unimaginable for a foreigner like immigrant like Yusuf, and originally a slave, as far as the status of his status in that administration or administration under that king. A slave is asked, and a foreigner slave, immigrant slave is asked to come to the court of the king. Unimaginable, but Yusuf was calm and he was wise, knowledgeable. So he said, no, I'm not coming. Ask him about what happened to those women who cut their hands. My Lord knows all about their treachery. Inna Rabbi bikaydihinna alim. Why is it important? Why Joseph is teaching us the conscience represented here in this story as Yusuf, why human conscience needs to have those people who accused the conscience as did something wrong, and Yusuf, but of course representing human reality, human conscience, essential truth in human beings, asking why they accused me, what was wrong with me, what mistake I did, so that they put me in prison as if I am a criminal or guilty. The human conscience must be exonerated. Otherwise, under blame in the eyes of the people, that's important, as if human conscience is not really perfect. Okay, fallible, etc. Human beings are fallible because we have conscience to let us know the truth, and also egoistic, egocentric concerns always tries to drag us away from what conscience says. This is our human reality, and free will is there to decide to follow conscience or just opposite of the reality, false assumptions, etc. Why is it important for the conscience to clear himself of all the accusations, make it sure? Because human beings don't generally, we don't acknowledge the purity of human conscience, how innocent it is, so that we will be sure to follow the conscience, our conscience, rather than our egoistic centers. Always listen to yourself, as if it's a self-reflection. Go back to yourself. What I am doing, what I am claiming, whatever, what I am believing, concluding, what I am choosing in my understanding, in my actions, etc. Am I really honest? But if someone does not acknowledge his origin of existence, which is, as a human being, pure from God, created by God, as pure as it has been created directly and perfectly by the owner of the universe. So what we should do in this case, if I am made by the most perfect, absolutely perfect creator, what am I expected to be perfect in my existence? But how much, I'm asking this question to myself, how much I am aware that in my original existence I am pure, but in the course of time, there is always possibility that I may pollute it, where I have polluted it, where I have not, hopefully. I have to question. Otherwise, if I say, I am a fallible man, I may always make mistakes, that is my reality. Oh God, I cannot trust myself. I cannot trust my existence. I cannot trust my creator. Therefore, I cannot connect my perfect existence to my creator. That is why we don't really appreciate human dignity, human honesty. That's why we don't realize what we are missing when we choose this way or another way, or mostly go in between, right and wrong, and name it as human fallibility. You know that this fall of Adam, because he committed the sin in paradise, the story, a certain religion, you all know that religious tradition claims. So we are fallible. What have we do? Well, we are not going to look into ourselves, search within ourselves what I am doing so that I am spoiling my original, pure, intact creation. They say, okay, this is my reality. Can I get rid of it? No. So if I cannot get rid of it, look at the mentality. It is so ridiculous. I must admit it. So how am I going to get rid of it? I cannot. I am as sinful as from my birth, from my origin. Why? Somehow, although I committed the sin, but it is natural or original to me, original sin, they call it, to commit sin. No, it is a choice. But we may fall. We have to be careful here. We may fall in our choice, not in our original creation, in our fall, in our choice. We may fall in our choice. Don't forget. But my origin is as pure as it has been created from the very beginning. So always I have to keep my awareness that I have to take care of my original conscience. It means in the language of the Quran, original sin. Sorry, original spirit. I have to keep it in my mind. But always, every time I make a choice, of course, we cannot be that precise, but generally, am I keeping my original reality, or am I deviating from this origin and making wrong choices? That self-reflection, self-awareness is very important for us to be aware of what we are doing. It is not a simple thing that Prophet Yusuf asked, go back to your king or to your Lord to declare me my purity, my perfection in my existence. Of course, as the Yusuf is what? Representative of conscience, human conscience in this story. So human conscience must be declared honest and perfect, so that we will trust ourselves, our creation, not our ego, as this civilization, secular civilization says. You must trust yourself. That is what they say. Christianity says, no, you cannot do anything, but you are always fallible. It is inevitable, so look for another solution. Here we are. What am I going to do? If you believe somebody, he will save you. From what? Punishment. Why? It is, God is, incredible to mention this even. It is not worth really spending our breath for it. Total trash interpretation. Just forcing. But what is important there, not to blame another religious tradition, what is important there, if someone thinks it is original is bad, from the very beginning, he is lost. He cannot really have self-confidence in his existence, not in his egoistic desires, in his existence. So this self-confidence is so important. So Yusuf says, I must have my self-confidence, and the people also must be aware that maybe he is guessing that the king is inviting him as a slave an immigrant slave, foreigner slave, to the palace, it means something. Let's not say that Yusuf knew the ghaib. No, that is against the creation of God's order of the creation. But even if you were in Yusuf's position, a foreigner, a slave, king is honorably inviting you to his court, to his palace. Definitely there will be some reward. Everybody guesses this. It is very human to guess that. So that is why he didn't want to go to court on the spot and ask the king, ask the messenger, the person that the king sent to Yusuf to come, and the king is asking you to his palace. He said, no, I'm not coming. Why? First, I must be exonerated. I must be cleared off. Everybody must know that the conscience is absolutely pure, spotless. So this blame on me must be eradicated, cleaned in the eyes of the people. That is why very, very important. And he says, Inna Rabbi bikaydihinna alim, because we have to remember now, go back. What happened? The Aziz's wife put the bolt on, locked the doors, and asked Yusuf, approach him. What was Yusuf's answer? God forbid. No, was it that? Anyway, I may be confusing. So he remembered God. And the verse said, because he remembered God, God saved him. It means this remembrance of God is very important. If something happens, hey, look, I'm not alone here. I have my Creator, and I must be honest to my Creator. The way He created me, I must keep this path. That's extremely important for me to remember God, my Lord, my Creator, my Master, my owner. Hey, I am not alone here. I am owned by somebody else. I cannot do anything to myself as I want. But my owner, I have to do everything according to what my owner is. I'm not the one who owns myself. That is the first thing Yusuf remembered, and this example says we have to do the same thing. If there is some appealing, charming things from the negative side, wrong side, Satan's whisperings, we have to remember first, who am I? Can I just follow it? Remember, God is extremely important. Remembering God, remembrance of God is extremely important in our practical life. That's why Quran keeps remember me, those who remember me. Dhikr, yetadakkarun, yetadabbarun. They are all the similar meaning, original meaning with different forms. But remembrance is very important. Everybody knows this verse, that only the hearts can get satisfaction only by remembering God. Why? Who am I? Oh, I belong to the owner of the universe. My master is the owner of the universe. Oh, so perfect. So secure confidence we have. My master is the owner of the universe. Here, Yusuf remembers this. Inna Rabbi bikaydihinna alim. my God knows their treacherous trap, actually. What did they say? Treachery. Okay, their treachery. The translation says treachery. So, their treachery. So I trust him. So it must come out. No, this God witnesses it. The people also must witness it. Let's see what happened later on. But I am amazed at every verse of the Quran, but this one also teaches us that, look, we have to acknowledge that our conscience is 100% spotless, pure. So trust yourself. Self-confidence is there in our creation, in realizing who my creator maker is. So he doesn't make any mistake. Look at the universe. Is there any mistake? Why should he make a mistake in my being? But I'm always fallible. Yeah, but not your reality is fallible. You and I actually choose always the opposite of truth, opposite of reality. That is why I made myself fallible. But my Lord, my creator, my maker never makes anything fallible. Mistakes or not really perfect, imperfect, faulty. No, that is what we have to have our confidence, or where we have to have our confidence. Okay, let's move one more. So what's that? Okay, now the king asked the woman. Now, as the messenger brought it, we understand that the Quran always narrates the story in a concise way and mentions what we have to know. In between, what happened? The man went and went back to the king. King announced to the people, "Oh, yeah, they are, but they are not relevant to our need. What we have to know now." King asked the woman, "What did you get when you tried to seduce Yusuf?" They replied, "God forbid, Hasha lillah, we know nothing indecent about him." Then the wife of Joseph's former master said, previous master said, "Now the truth has come to light. We have to study all this. It was I who tried to seduce him, and he is surely truthful." Yeah, right? So, وَإِنَّهُ لَمِنَ الصَّدِّقِينَ. Now, women are there. And the king is asking the woman in general, not the wife of the former master, which is Aziz. Why? Why Yusuf asked what these women wanted of me, from me? Why did they accuse me and put me in prison? But he didn't accuse one woman. Why? Because we know that the Quran emphasizes on it or explains it when the wife invited the women who were gossiping behind her or blaming her at the same time, of course, with the gossip. Without the blaming, gossip is not sweet. So blaming her, when they admit that also, oh, it is irresistible. If I were Aziz's wife, I would do the same thing. So beautiful, etc. Because in reality, conscience is admirably beautiful. Of course, we understand that Yusuf was a handsome guy, but Yusuf is a conscience. When the conscience is really presented to people, as it is, then everybody, every human consciousness recognize it as the, let's say, symbolic consciousness out there, and everybody has this consciousness. Oh, this is really me. Perfect. Admits it. It means another important point. Now, every human being essentially acknowledges the reality of our perfect creation. It means the truth. So absolute truth is knowable for human beings. This is a kind of, although important for our belief, but only the philosophers discuss this subject. Absolute truth is knowable or not? They say no, absolute truth is not knowable. Why? They are materialist. Why? Because in the creation, there is no absolute, there is no absolute truth. That is why they think, they limit their thinking within the conditions of this universe only, not the source of it. They don't want to go, of course, deliberately, they don't want to go to the realm of existence of the creator of the universe, which is human logic concludes it must be such a creator whose power must be absolute. So we cannot really find any source of existence in this world. There must be then, therefore, there must be a source of existence. So human beings acknowledges it, but certain people everybody has free will. They have their free will, and they may not choose to acknowledge it and explain everything in an egocentric way. It means I own myself, so other creatures, other beings also must own themselves. There is no creator who is absolutely perfect. So understandable that their conclusion says absolute truth cannot be knowable. So even some Muslim philosophers, people, intelligentsia, buys into this false idea. Let's put it in a very simple language, false, wrong idea. Why? Of course, we don't know absolute truth. We can only guess. No. I cannot claim that I grasped the absolute truth. But the existence of the absolute truth is necessary. There must be an absolute truth. The existence of the absolute truth is necessary. We can conclude, we can understand it, although there is no absolute truth within the created world, because created world is not absolute. In this sense, the philosophers, materialist philosophers, are true. Within the world, there is no absolute truth. But human conscience, human spirit, human ruh, can acknowledge the necessity of the existence of the absolute truth. There must be an absolute truth, and my aim is to reach this absolute truth, and I have to use my free will to follow my conscience to get closer to the absolute truth. And in this way, I shouldn't deviate. That is why self-confidence in our existence is inevitable. To have a hopeful future, to have a hopeful choice, that I am able to make the right decision. Why shouldn't I make it? I am able to do that. So this seems to be a philosophical discussion, but to me, it's a very practical matter. To conclude about the necessary existence of the absolute truth is different from for me to claim that I am holding the absolute truth. Now, Yusuf, let's come back now. But Yusuf said, human beings can acknowledge the absolute truth. God knows it. So I have to trust the absolute truth. It means I have to trust my Lord, my Rabb, my Creator. So that is why he said, okay, I have to go and ask for exoneration. Of course, another aspect of this is human beings, this matter is this. Human beings feel relaxed if they see that my weak choices or weakness in my choices, not in my creation, in my choices, is shared by many people, acknowledged by many people, then it becomes a norm now. Everybody comfortably says, oh, yeah, we know that it was our mistake, not Yusuf's mistake. It means conscience does not really do anything wrong, suggests anything wrong, but we may choose wrong options. We may choose as a result of freedom of our free will. That is why they easily declare the innocence of Yusuf, because it became common, it became norm. Now, this also very brief nowadays problem I have to refer to now here. This society also tries to normalize the mistakes, and everybody will feel free to declare that I don't mind doing something bad because everybody does it. Look at this way. So I am such a person, they can easily say it. And everybody wears in a certain way. Yeah, I can go along with them. Everybody is. Why should I keep my human dignity in my clothing, whatever, in my behavior, whatever, in my belief? Go along with the people and become a ordinary member of the common, if you like, flood of the people going just, they don't know what they are doing, flow of the people, what they don't know, you go also with them. That is why normalization is now exploited, hijacked by, some people who have certain agenda. Now, that is another social and political problem we have to be aware of, but come back to the subject. Now, they declared comfortably. Then the wife of Joseph's former master said, Aziz's wife, master said, look at how comfortable he is. She is declaring that it was her who seduced Joseph, not the other way around. Now the truth, now she's speaking now. Now the truth has come to light. It was I who tried to seduce him, and he is surely truthful. What happened? The innocence, the perfectness, purity of conscience is acknowledged. Now Yusuf says, I can come out to the public now. I can go now. Do we understand the importance of this? If someone confesses her guilt, definitely This is human nature. We have to analyze it. It's kind of psychological analysis. If someone confesses his or her guilt, then he releases himself from the burden of sin. Now, it is an important human psychology. So I must go and say that to the people, look, I am such and such person. I did such and such wrong things. So I am released. This is not for this purpose. Declaring one's mistake, one's guilt. Quran says, use it in order to repent your creator. Not that in order to normalize it. Now the secular society uses it in order to normalize the bad behaviors. Quran uses it or asks us to use it in order to repent and confess and repent as a result of confession. Now, I did a mistake only to God. Secular societies say, just confess your mistakes to the society, and it is used for normalization. But Quran says, keep it between you and your creator so that it should not be abused, misused by other people saying that, look, everybody does this. Come on, I am one of them. So what? I am one of this public. I feel comfortable with my mistake because everybody is comfortable with their mistake. Look at this. Confessing your mistakes to the public is normalization of evil. Declaring or confessing your mistakes, your sins, whatever you did wrong, to God is seclusion. Now, as if it is only me, not nobody else. I was the bad guy only. Why did I do it? So confessing God helps us two things. First, really assuming the mistake on yourself and not normalizing it and feeling really very bad about it and being somehow confident in, I'm not going to do it, deciding that I'm not going to do it. That is helpful. But the confession must be between you and the one who created you. So he knows everything anyways. But what matters? Your confession helps you to have a healthy relationship with your creator. Oh, my creator, forgive me. You are most forgiving one. That relationship makes you feel closer to God, to your God. And you feel comfortable because you just confessed. Any confession makes the feel released from the burden of their sins, their mistakes. One way is completely takes human beings to corruption, normalization by confession. The other one is, the Quran suggests, through confession again, but only to God, not normalization at all, but having a close relationship with the Creator, trusting God, in God, so that you can ask for help from Him, so that you can have a source of energy, if you like, not to turn back your sin. And remembering God is always essential for us. Oh, God knows me. God is my owner. How can I go back to him if I keep rebelling him? Of course, this attitude definitely softens our hearts and helps us to resist against the whisperings of, Satan. Let's say this. It means the side of the free will suggests us just the opposite of the truth. Now, wife of Joseph declared it because everybody accepted it. Nothing to do with God. Confession before God, confession before people. But in this way, Yusuf was cleared of his accusation of guilt. Whoever wants to see that conscience is really perfect, so that realizing this perfection of conscience, one can have confidence in him, therefore confidence in his or her creator, so that you can have a comfortable relationship with your creator. Trust him and ask him to help you. That relationship, healthy relationship, helps you develop to go in the better way. How about the materialist civilizations normalizing the sins? Do you really benefit from the normalization? Do you really get better because you normalized your sin together with the majority of the people? Just the opposite. Rather than normalizing, rather than really improving your personality, you start normalizing everything, every sins, one by one, and at the end, look at this society. Family life is corrupt, and sense of responsibility between people, men, women, relationship, corrupt, no responsibility. Everybody benefits things that they are enjoying their life daily, and that's it. But the result is what? Loneliness, not human satisfaction, but only emotional satisfaction on a very temporary base. That's why they keep trying to get pleasure on daily basis in their life, keep changing their partners, if you like, using all sorts of means of satisfaction, because they don't know the source of perfect human satisfaction. Unfortunately, normalization is nowadays, in many cases, becoming very widespread and going into the Muslim world as well. We have to be very careful. Now, shall we move to verse 52, inshallah? Joseph said, "This was for my master, the chief minister, to know that I did not betray him behind his back." God doesn't guide the mischief of the treacherous. What does it mean? People may think that, again, it is the subject we covered, actually. People may think that since Yusuf is imprisoned, there must have done something wrong with this guy. It means the conscience is under accusation. It means human beings may think that this is original for me to make something wrong, so I cannot help Really correcting myself. I cannot do anything to correct myself because it is in my nature. Some people keep saying, maybe it is me. When I say some people, it is mostly me. I say, I cannot really do it. I just stop myself doing something wrong. Why? That's what I cannot. But look at this. A lack of confidence declares that as if I don't have any free will. I cannot stop doing this, whatever it is. I cannot start doing good things. Why? Because I can't. No, no, no. It is totally wrong. So we have to have this confidence. So Yusuf wanted his innocence declared so that those people may think that conscience may not be perfect, but as it was declared, they said, now you know that conscience is perfect, okay? It was the other agents, whoever they are, accusing the conscience not being perfect. It was their mistake. Now everything clear, everything became clear that conscience is perfect. That's what my mission is. Well, what is it to do with the prophetic mission that Yusuf is represented here in this story as a prophet, but at the same time, conscious? Really, there is no difference between the message of the prophet and reality of our conscience. There is no difference. Message of the prophets, of course, from God, but transferred to human beings through a human being employed by God. This message is exactly what my conscience says. Direct correspondence between them. My conscience must acknowledge what the prophetic message, God's message is, must be able to acknowledge it as it is, as perfect as it is, because God's message, by definition, must be perfect. And I must be able to acknowledge the perfectness of the message. If I wasn't given the tool to acknowledge the perfection of God's message, what would it mean? It means my Creator is asking me, giving me a news, asking me to do something, asking me to believe in something, which I cannot comprehend totally. It is a contradiction on the side of, it would be a contradiction on the side of my Creator. So by definition, the message must be equal to my conscience. But can I really act what my conscience requires without deviating, without polluting it? Is it possible for anyone to do that? We are always deviating from it. Although we may know, we are able to know, essentially, we may pretend not to know, claim the blame on our conscience, saying that I cannot correct myself, I cannot do right things, I am addicted to it, etc. Especially the addictions, when the addictions is the point, this matter. Then we said, I'm addicted, I cannot stop. No, you can't. You must be able to do it, but it may take some time, okay, because getting involved in the wrong actions takes time. Equally, correcting ourselves also takes time. Now, we can learn in time, and if we don't repeat what we have learned, we can forget again in the course of time. That is human reality. That's why we shouldn't be really disappointed when you say, okay, I decided to stop from sinning in this particular matter, whatever it is, but I couldn't do it. Of course, it may take, but you have to keep trying, asking God, help me. But asking God connects you to the absolute being. So you say that my supporter is the absolute creator, owner of the universe. But with his support, I can do it. Because my supporter is not another person, but my supporter is the creator of the universe. That's why remembrance of God in every matter, at every stage, is very essential. When I say, please Allah help me, what does it mean? Oh, I can trust my creator. He must provide me the means to do that. Conscious is there, but admitting that your support is the creator of the universe, it means you can have more confidence. So, no, with the help of Allah, definitely I can make it. Not because I am powerful, by my support, my helper is powerful. That is another way of really establishing our confidence through connecting ourselves to our creator. Shall we move one more? Although, okay. And do I, 53, it is just connected to it, so I wanted to conclude today's discussion with this verse. And I don't seek to free myself from blame. My nefs, وَمَا أُبَرِّئُ نَفْسِي إِنَّ النَّفْسَ لَأَمَّارَةٌ بِالسُّوءِ. Because I have conscience, all right, but human beings also have evil side, egocentric inspirations represented by Satan. So if I don't trust in the creator of my conscience, I will definitely go just the opposite of what conscience suggests me. That it means I don't see that the verse says. Actually, this verse is so important, we can memorize it. وَمَا أُبَرِّئُ نَفْسِي إِنَّ النَّفْسَ لَأَمَّارَةٌ بِالسُّوءِ إِلَّا مَا رَحِمَ رَبِّي. It's beautiful. Except those shown mercy by my Lord. If my creator did not create me with a merciful way, it means, of course, perfectly, as a result of his mercy, that I need a perfect existence, so that I cannot perfect myself by myself. If in my creation I have some default, then not default, I think, am I confusing? Faulty, let's say. Defect, sorry. If I have defect in my creation, how can I correct it? I have no unit of measurement to correct it. That is why if I am able to do something right, just because it is the mercy of my creator who created me in a perfect form. These are important matters. My soul itself, if I am left on my own, I will never ever find the right way. I will never ever be able to correct myself. But because of the mercy of my creator, that he created me perfectly, I can do it. When I fall, when I do something wrong, now to continue Inna Rabbi Ghafurur Rahim. I know that. I am created perfect, but at the same time, I have the option to do some wrong things. So I have free will. I may just slip there, but I have to remember that my Lord, surely my Lord is all forgiving, most merciful. This verse is so beautiful, so essential. Really, what we do in order to establish a confidence in ourselves. Of course, it means in our creation, so that this confidence comes from my connection to God. If I don't connect myself to God, I am left with my, which is Quran used nafs. It means self-centric, egotistic-centric side of ourselves. No, this is called a nafs in the Quran. So the verse is, وَمَا أُبَرِّئُ نَفْسِي إِنَّ النَّفْسَ لَأَمَّارَةٌ بِالسُّوءِ إِلَّا مَا رَحِمَ رَبِّي إِنَّ رَبِّي غَفُورٌ رَحِيمٌ. If I fall, I know that my Lord is merciful, my Lord is all merciful, my Lord is forgiving one, all forgiving one. I can seek refuge with him. I can ask him to help me. He helps me. This is the best way of building one's self-confidence in his existence, not in his ego. That is what this civilization says. You have to trust yourself. You have to have a confidence in yourself, but in your ego, they mean. But Quran says, you have to trust your creation because you are created by the perfect one. And your perfection is out of the mercy of your creator that, of course, he took mercy. He created you with his mercy in a perfect way. That's why human conscience is always perfect and it's always with us. If I make a mistake, it is my mistake, my choice. And I must remember that my creator is definitely all forgiving and all most merciful. I should never forget this relationship. It is a beautiful guidance for us how I can correct myself when I fall in sinning, doing something wrong, or not being able to do what I am expected to do originally. This guidance, verse 53 of the section Yusuf, must be memorized. Please, I mean, everybody has the Quran. You can take a picture of it, or you can find out 12th section of the Quran, Yusuf, verse 53. Memorize it. Keep reminding yourself. I don't seek to free myself from blame. I cannot say that myself, I am perfect, not in my creation. No, as I am now, I am my egocentric claim. For indeed, my ego, soul is ego here, is ever inclined to evil. Ego is always says, come to me. Interpret everything as I like, as I exist by myself. I do whatever I want this way. And this side of me is always inclined to evil. But unless my God shows mercy to me, it means if I remember my God, my creator, I will say, look, my creator made me perfect. I can overcome this mistake. And if I fail in keeping my promise, definitely I should remember, make dhikr of Allah, saying that Allah is most forgiving, most merciful, and fully forgiving one, with no exception. Inshallah. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Sorry for being late to end the discussion. Inshallah, we will continue from verse 54 next week. If Allah gives us the opportunity, we will do that. And I'll see you next Saturday, Monday, and Wednesday. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Subhanaka la ilma lana illa ma 'allamtana innaka antal alimul hakim. Wa akhiru da'wahum anil hamdulillahi rabbil alamin.